But yeah, you've moved for Donnarumma. You've made inquiries now for Rodrygo. Grealish is gone. Savinho is probably going to leave. What do you make of these links, and how good a player do you think they could be for City?
It's weird, like, because it's just come out of the blue completely. Like nobody. I don't think any City fan anywhere expected Savinho to leave the football club, and I'd say 99% of City fans probably didn't want Savinho to leave the football club. He didn't have an amazing year last year, but he was decent last year in a really bad City side. And I just thought going into this season, when City would likely be better, he'd kick on and he could have a really good year. And I've seen him a lot for Girona. And then 2 nights ago, breaking news: Savinho is looking like he's on the way to Spurs, and we're like, what? What's going on here? And then obviously at that point, we didn't know City were in for Rodrygo. Then the next day comes out, we get confirmation again. So this isn't like a source and it gets muddied the next day. We get confirmation again. Yes, Savinho is looking like it could be going to Spurs if they can agree a fee, which sounds like it's going to be in the region of 60 million, which seems about fair to me. And then we get the news that if Savinho does go Spurs, City are going to make a move for Rodrygo. It's just like, what? Like, where is all this coming from? And if that wasn't mad enough, I'm at the gym, bang, get a notification on my phone, City have made inquiries to sign Donnarumma. And now Fabrizio's saying Galatasaray have started official talks with Manchester City to sign Ederson. And if that happens, City are going to sign Donnarumma. It's just like, what is happening here? What's going to happen with Trafford? Who's going to be our number one? Mm-hmm. Are we getting Rodrygo? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the fundamental point is if we do sign Rodrygo and Donnarumma, we're a better team. Mm. I mean, how can you deny that? You can't sign a treble-winning goalkeeper like Donnarumma and say that's a bad signing, right? It's a weird signing because I didn't think...
You can. Chelsea fan Don said there ain't much difference between him and Rob Sanchez.
Yeah, but Don's a fraud. And anyone that thinks Donnarumma and Sanchez are on the same level, yeah, that is just a crazy, crazy take. So some of the saves that this guy was making in the Champions League last year were ridiculous, right? And then obviously if you get Rodrygo on top of that is crazy. So I think what you're seeing is, first of all, you're seeing a major shift with our sporting director, because would anybody think City would get these 2 players under Tiki? I personally don't think we would go for these type of players under Tiki. Now we've got Viana. He's clearly going to shift. He's not going to have the same approach. It's mad. It's wild. I think we'd be better for it if we get Rodrygo. I mean, Rodrygo is better than Savinho. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. And Donnarumma is I wouldn't say better than Ederson, but he's a completely different style of goalkeeper than Ederson. Ederson's a ball-playing goalkeeper, whereas Donnarumma's the complete opposite. So, listen, it's interesting. I mean, I'm happy with the news. I think it's 2 good signings if we get it done. I just think that it's a major shift in how City operate. And I'm going to be interested to see over the next couple of transfer windows, because the thing is as well, people think, once we get these couple of players in, City will be done. There's a lot of work for this club to do next summer as well. We're going to have a lot of players leaving our football club next summer. And are we going to be moving like a sort of like Galactico style signings rather than try to get your 40, 50 million pounders? Are we going to go up a bracket? I don't know, man. It's interesting. We'll see if it happens. But at this moment in time, reading the news, I think we probably are going to get them both. Mad.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go down in a second. I'm not going to change my tune on Donnarumma. When he was linked to Man United and Chelsea in the last week or so, the amount of people I've seen putting out stats, because on a lot of those websites that show stats, honestly, the stats show that they do show like the Spider-Grand stats. They show that the likes of Rob Sanchez and Onana are better than Donnarumma. And as soon as I started seeing that, I was like, yeah, it's a bit like the Premier League website when people put the stats up for defenders, and you'll see that Ben Mee has made more tackles and had more clearances and done more interceptions and intercepted more crosses than Van Dijk. And you go, we already know the flaw in that is that he's facing more of those per game. So over the course of 200 or 300 football matches, of course, those stats are higher. And I'm saying 200 or 300 matches over a long period of time when people put up 6-7 years worth of stats. I get the feeling there's a similar flaw in the stats for goalkeepers. How many shots is Donnarumma saving when he is facing shots? Is it like loads of sort of P rollers from the edge of the box when PSG are being pinned back? Or is it really difficult opportunities because they've been caught on the break and it's 3 versus 1 and it's pretty easy to score that shot? None of this is said to you on those stat websites. So I think anyone playing this down is crazy. And the next thing people are going to attack City with is, yeah, but he's not a ball-playing goalkeeper. You're going to struggle. And this was my argument to Don when Don says we need a ball-playing goalkeeper. And Don still hasn't answered this question directly without deflecting. How were PSG able to play the most beautiful football in Europe last year with Donnarumma? If PSG could play that football, I'll say it now, and this isn't a dig, but it's a point. If Pep can't get his team to play beautiful football with Donnarumma in goal, he's a fraud because PSG could do it. So, and by the way, he will be able to do it because he may not have that passing ability that Edison has had long range. That might disappear from the game. However, just give the ball to a centre back. Your centre backs can play that ball. It's crazy. It's an excellent signing.
And by the way,
I'm
just on that point about PSG winning the treble with Donnarumma in goal, that very situation has fundamentally changed my opinion, because I've been of the opinion over the last few years that City need an Edison-style goalkeeper because of the way that we play football, and we can't play football with a Donnarumma style or maybe a Courtois style or these type of goalkeepers because we need a player that. But they've just won the treble. So I fundamentally have to look at that opinion and go, well, that's not right. Because I've been saying that we have to have a ball-playing goalkeeper. That's the only way that this Manchester City team can operate. But then PSG, as you said, play unbelievably nice football, passing out from the back, and they've got Donnarumma and won the treble. So, my opinion's either wrong or something's happened here. So I've changed my opinion. I'm very much of the opinion that, Luis Enrique has proved that you do not need. And to be fair, maybe the times have just changed. Football goes through eras. Yeah, the styles of football change. What worked 20 years ago won't work now, and what works now won't work in 5-10 years. Maybe football's just changed. And I was literally just saying on my channel then that if you go back like 2 or 3 years ago, when City won the treble, we had our defence then was Ake at left back, Diaz, Stones, and then either Walker or Akanji. That was basically 4 actual defenders, playing in defence, right? So Edison didn't have that many saves. So we probably were better off with an Edison 2-3 years ago because he didn't have to make that many saves because we had a phenomenal defence. But now we've got Ait Nouri playing at left back, who is forward thinking and probably not the best defender in the world. And we've got Nunes at right back. So now what's that going to mean? Whenever you speak to people about City, they say, you defence, you defence, you defence. So, it probably makes logical sense then to have a goalkeeper like Donnarumma because he's going to have to make more saves.
And on top of that, football's got to a point now where nearly every single team in the Premier League is dangerous on the counter-attack. So you need someone who is one of the best shot stoppers in the world. He's also one of those goalkeepers that can save those. I hate the phrase for it. What's the better phrase? The low XG shots. That save he made from Saka in that second leg, curling into that top goalkeeper corner. Most don't save it. He's amazing from the penalty spot. These little percentages that you will gain. I would say in terms of stopping shots, stopping almost certain goals, he is right up there with Edison, if not better. People will pull on these mistakes and try again, bring City down. But again, if I had an hour of spare time and didn't have a life and didn't want to see my kids, I could find a compilation of all Edison's mistakes. There's a lot of bad ones. The amount of times that man's been beat at his near post. I'm not slagging him off, by the way. One of the best goalkeepers in the world. But all goalies make mistakes. Petr Cech, litany of them. Schmeichel, the greatest goalkeeper I've seen in my lifetime. I remember all these mistakes. I remember him once going to kick a ball when we were playing Barnsley and the ball went sort of backwards behind him and they tapped it in and went on to win the game. These things happen. This would be phenomenal work by City. What do you make of it, Dan? Obviously, you're a team that's going to be challenging City. They made some signings early in the summer, but it went very quiet for 4 or 5 weeks. Now they're looking at one of your targets, Rodrygo, Donnarumma in goal to improve on things. What do you make of that?
Firstly, I just want to say I think LB there's made a great point about the defense. The defense not being that good. They're now going to face more shots, so it makes sense now having a goalkeeper who's great at shot stopping, who's big. What is he? 6'5". He's commanding. He's a leader. Edison is, don't get me wrong, I've always been in the camp that Edison is better than Alisson. I've always, everyone more people lean towards Alisson. I've always liked Edison. I think he's just ticks every box. And for the way City were playing, perfect. But he just made a great point, because I was thinking in my head though, I mean, you said he's a treble winning goalkeeper, but so is Edison, right? And Edison is part of the furniture at the club. Now, he's not going to be there and be a number 2, right? But he has just sort of weaned off a little bit. And there was even a stage where Ortega come and took his place for a bit. So, sometimes you freshen things up. And look, I think it's going to be an unbelievable signing if Manchester City can get him, and it scares me. Moving on to Rodrygo, if they get Rodrygo, wow! I've already come on this show before and said to you, Terry, that I'm not sleeping on Man City at all. I think Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool are going to be the 3 teams in the title race. If they get Rodrygo, that's just whoever gets Rodrygo. You know, if Arsenal manage to get him, God willing, that I think it makes us even stronger, and it's definitely 100% makes City even stronger. And I think he'll do great at either club. It reminds me of when Sanchez was at Barcelona and he was doing really well, but he was a bit in Messi's shadow. And I think, I can't remember who else they had then, maybe David Villa at the time, but he was just a little bit in the shadow of certain players, and he came to Arsenal and he excelled. I think Rodrygo, if he goes to Manchester City, then look, they're already going to be there anyway. So I've never discounted Man City at all. I can't. I've got PTSD from Manchester City, right? Even Liverpool fans, when we were asking, I can't remember, matey boy, the young boy that was on the other day, is it Tom? And he said he's scared of Man City when we were asking him out over Arsenal and Chelsea. But yeah, I mean, look, Donnarumma, again, me and you were in the camp. We couldn't understand what Don was saying about David Sanchez being anywhere near him. That's criminal talk, man. You know what I mean? Saying that, that's just madness. So look, in answer to your question, it makes City much stronger if they get Donnarumma, and especially if they get Rodrygo, because I think Ederson's a top class goalie anyway. So I think, all right, Donnarumma might be better in certain aspects, and it may suit their style of play better this season. And Pep knows what he's doing. But Rodrygo, that's he's got X factor. And he could do, Savinho in bits, he's looked good. I'm not sure City have got the time now to wait. Liverpool are building this massive dynasty. So they could have just looked and said, look, we can't wait 2 years for him to become, the player we want him to become our new Mahrez or whoever they may feel he's going to be like. They need it now. And Rodrygo he's there, isn't he? He's ready. So,
at the end of the day, clubs have to move with the times.
Exactly.
And I don't want this to sound like I'm at NC Ederson or something. I think Ederson's been our best goalkeeper that we've ever had, in what I've seen anyway. But as we've discussed, times have changed. Our defence is now weaker than it was. And weaker defensively, but it's obviously better going forward than it was in the treble. But that's going to mean that we're more open at the back. And that means that we're probably going to need a goalkeeper that's better at shot stopping than Ederson. So you got to move with the times. You can't just keep the same players forever just because they've done something good. Sometimes you have to go, you were mint in this situation, but actually now you could be a detriment. Yeah. And as for Savinho, I do think Savinho's the one that wants to leave for whatever reason. But we've already got project players. So we've got Bob, who I think is better than Savinho anyway. And we've got Doku, who's another project player. So I don't really want to buy another project player besides Savinho. And the club's going to potentially go and get Rodrygo. So I don't know, man. I'm buzzing with the news. And I think for me, these 2 signings, if they happen, will give me the confidence to say I think we'll win the league. Because at the moment, I still think Liverpool are favourites. But if we can sign Donnarumma and Rodrygo, I'm back in City again for the league. But until it's done, I'm still saying I think Liverpool are favourites at the moment. But it's mad how just dropping in the same couple of days. It's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Premier League. I mean, we say that. I mean, there's only 2 and a bit weeks of the transfer window remaining, so there isn't much more time to actually start these conversations and get these deals done. To be fair, and that's why this part of sometimes I wish the transfer window wasn't as long, and I only wish it was like 6 weeks done. You just get a really busy 6-week period. It'd be great rather than like 3 months and the first 3 months of it. And I know we got a lot with City and Liverpool early because of the Club World Cup and Chelsea, but that's an anomaly. You're not going to have the Club World Cup every year. Normally it's just slow for like 5-6 weeks and it starts building up, but it's certainly getting exciting. And Rodrygo, as you say, listen, I agree with you. It'll be 100%. You bring in Rodrygo, you bring in Donnarumma, and you draw so much closer to the favourite mark. And that's what's going to be amazing about its last few weeks. I feel like the favourites can change in multiple directions depending upon who clubs sign, and it kind of brings